In the unassuming, small town of Mayford, shrouded in mist and secrets, there occurred a murder that would rattle its tranquility. The night sky was ink black, the stars hidden behind clouds. A hush blanketed the town when the startling news struck like thunder. Alice Gray, the town librarian, was found dead in her quaint rickety home, the pages of her favorite book, stained with her life's essence. William Harvey was a detective whose life was tightly entwined with Mayford's history. Adopted into a loving family of the town after the tragic loss of his parents during his childhood, he had grown to cherish Mayford with all his heart. Now a grizzled cop nearing retirement, he was pulled into the case. Despite his age-worn weariness, his eyes sparkled with a dogged determination to unravel the mystery. William visited Alice's home, the wooden floorboards creaking under the weight of unspoken tales. He surveyed the crime scene, a feeling of dread curling around his heart like a serpent. His eyes traced the splatters of blood that seemed to form a pattern, a strange eerie symbol he'd seen before, but couldn't quite place. Meanwhile, a chilling aura pervaded Mayford. Townsfolk began to report inexplicable sightings, shadowy figures slipping in and out of the dark, low whispers carried by the wind, and bizarre symbols etched onto their doors. The terror escalated, casting its gruesome shadow over their once peaceful lives. As the investigation deepened, William started seeing the mysterious symbols in his dreams. It was an ancient, arcane symbol, from what looked like an old forgotten language. He woke up in cold sweats, his dreams echoing with haunting chants. A sense of impending doom hung heavily around him. One day, he stumbled upon a local historian, an old, eccentric man named Milton. Seeing the symbol, Milton grew pale, his already wrinkled face creasing further with worry. He explained that the symbol was linked to an ancient cult once rumored to inhabit the surrounding woods, known for their sacrificial rituals and dark arts. Chilled to the bone, yet resolute, William decided to venture into the woods. In its heart, he found an old abandoned shrine, adorned with the same symbol. The air was thick with an unspeakable menace, whispering tales of horror long buried under the ground he stood on. Digging into Alice's background, he found a shocking revelation. Alice was the descendant of the last known leader of the cult. Is it possible that Alice was killed in an attempt to resurrect the cult's activities? As he pieced the puzzle together, his radio crackled to life with a frantic message. Another murder had occurred, this time Milton, the historian. The horror unfolded with the same chilling pattern, the same symbol etched in blood. William rushed back to town, his mind racing faster than his heart. The murder of Milton, a man who knew too much, confirmed his worst fears. The cult was not a relic of the past but a living, breathing entity. He summoned all townsfolk to the local church, hoping to catch the killer in the crowd. As he addressed the fearful faces, he noticed a particular individual, a kindly old woman named Edith, drawing the same symbol on her prayer book. A sense of dread filled the room as William approached Edith. Under the church's holy light, her pleasant facade crumbled. Upon interrogation, Edith confessed, her voice raspy yet resolute, that she was not the last of the cult, and its presence would be felt once again. As she was handcuffed, she laughed, her voice echoing in the ominous silence. The cult is never dead, detective. It lives in fear. It lives in you. As William stood rooted, surrounded by the silence that echoed Edith's ominous words, his eyes fell on the prayer book dropped carelessly on the floor. As he picked it up, the pages fell open to an entry. It was a list, a roll call of sorts, etched in the same arcane language as the symbols. But what sent a shiver down William's spine was his name, written in English, at the very end of the list. A gasp escaped his lips. The room began to spin. Memories rushed back, long buried and forgotten. As a child, he'd been found alone in these same woods, no recollection of his past, and adopted by a Mayford family. Could it be that William's life was intertwined with the cult's sinister legacy more deeply than he had ever imagined? And so the mystery of Mayford didn't end with the arrest of Edith. It merely opened a new chilling chapter, stirring deeper long-forgotten horrors in its wake, waiting to be discovered, to be fought. The tale of the town and its seasoned detective took an ominous turn, flipping their world upside down and leaving them in the unsettling silence of the unknown. Plagued by the eerie realization of his connection to the symbol, William delved deeper into Mayford's secrets. The symbol represented a prophecy about the resurgence of the cult's next leader through a blood sacrifice. Alice, being a direct descendant of the cult's last known leader, was killed as part of this ghastly ritual. Milton's murder was another piece of the puzzle. Having studied the cult's history, he likely posed a threat to their resurrection. His death was another grim warning. The cult was active and would eliminate anyone standing in their way. But what about the list of names in the prayer book? Why was his name there? William, now 55 years old, searched for any records of cult activity he could find. His whole career he had mainly dealt with petty crime in this small town. The detective couldn't find anything until he came across a similar occurrence in Mayford a whole 65 years prior. And to his disbelief, he uncovered that 2 of the 8 people arrested were his biological parents. The cold realization dawned upon him: he was not just hunting the cult, he was a part of its horrifying story. The cult was indeed alive, not just in the shadows of Mayford, but within him. He had unknowingly carried the cult's legacy into their lives. William theorized that Edith was looking for a successor. She believed that the person who could decipher the cult's ancient language was destined to lead them. William, having seen the symbols and deciphered them, unknowingly proved his capability. His name was at the end of the list because he was the most recent, and perhaps the most promising candidate. William understood the cult's horrifying motives now. They sought to resurrect their ancient practices and establish control over Mayford again. Alice and Milton were killed as part of this ritualistic resurgence, and he was being groomed to become a part of it. Haunted by the revelation of his connection to the cult, William was consumed by an overwhelming sense of destiny and resignation. Was this newly discovered secret his ultimate fate? Yet deep inside, a spark of his dogged determination lingered. He decided to confront the cult directly. In the cover of night, he scribbled a cryptic note in the cult's ancient language and left it at the town center, a place where the cult was sure to find it. The message was simple, a summons to a meeting in the heart of the woods, where it all began. Days passed, and the scheduled night arrived. As the moon cast long shadows in the woods, William began his walk, every step heavier than the last. The rustling leaves and eerie silence resonated with the turbulence in his heart. Once in the heart of the woods, he ignited a fire, its light casting an eerie glow on the abandoned shrine. Round the fire the cult members emerged from the shadows, their eyes wary, yet hopeful. William addressed them, his voice steady yet laced with an undercurrent of anxiety. He spoke their ancient language competently, his words echoing in the hallowed silence of the woods. He recalled their prophecies, their rituals, their beliefs. The cult members listened, their faces a canvas of varying emotions. There was awe, fear, and anticipation. However, William's every word, every gesture, seemed to resonate with the cult's ideology, finally convincing them of his acceptance of his fate. William, once the hunter, was now one of them, their new leader. However, their acceptance was not met with their anticipated sense of unity or power. Instead, their eyes widened in disbelief and horror as the tranquil forest was suddenly flooded with lights. The sharp sounds of police sirens piercing the eerie silence. Officers emerged from the surrounding shadows, their guns trained on the shocked cult members. The trap had been sprung. William, their would-be leader, was in fact the bait. The realization hit the cult members like a tidal wave. Their faces were a mix of shock and betrayal. One by one, they were handcuffed and led away, their dreams of the cult's resurrection extinguished. In the aftermath, William stood alone in the woods, the weight of his deceit and victory pressing heavily on his shoulders. The cult was finally eradicated, the town of Mayford safe once again. Yet his victory was overshadowed by the chilling reminder of his connection to the cult, a bond that he would have to carry to his grave.